hobby friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, a podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Or in today's episode, learn to buy minis bravely, and other things like that. But before we get to the main topic, we're gonna talk about some hobby, what we've been up to, what we've been doing, just kind of get a little, get the juices flowing, so to speak. So, Brent, what have you been doing?
Well, the weather's been good, Casey, so I went fishing with my Space Marines, and I caught some fish, and no spoilers, but it's real, it's happening. It's happening.
It's real.
Yeah. Got my footage on 2 GoPros, and as per tradition, I also brought a real camera on a tripod and set it up on rocks and stuff and paddled around.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of tense moments getting in and out of this tiny little canoe, and got the tripod balanced in the back of the canoe, got all my batteries, all my memory sticks.
Yeah.
And that thing's rocking back and forth, and of course
you're brave for doing that.
My boat shoes are my old Crocs. So the Crocs that I wear from the moment I get out of bed until the moment I get back into bed, those are my business Crocs, and they still have tread left on them. But my boat Crocs are my old Crocs that have a lot of cat teeth marks in them, and I've also worn the tread right off. So it's just a smooth rubber sole on those. Yeah.
Walking on slippery, wet boats, they're the perfect shoe.
They're my bald summer tires. That's what I like to call them.
Yeah, exactly.
And just scrambling around those slicks. Rocks on those boats. Yeah. Yeah, we did an episode about hobby safety recently, and it would have been much better if I had my old shoes on, because those at least tie onto my feet, and that's a start. Yeah. So
yeah.
Anyway, you can take a mini and put a treble hook on there and go out and catch some fish. That's a real thing. I've proved it time and time again. And
at least once.
I don't even know what the point is anymore, but you definitely do it. Definitely do it.
It's a deep dive, going undercover, really blowing the lid off of Rapala and MEPS, and just showing the people that it doesn't matter. These big brands don't own fishing. You can use a Space Marine that costs more than one of those lures and do just as good.
Very similar price, slightly less performance, I'd say.
Okay. Maybe not blowing the lid off of, but competing for a little bit of the same kind of money.
We got to be careful with these reckless claims here.
Yeah. Right. Still pretty fun, and I'm excited for it. So it's still the best videos on your channel by far. I think the most beloved videos. Right on.
Yeah. So you can contribute to Casey and I buying a high-powered bass boat by buying some Chicken in the Bucket t-shirt merch. And then we can get a high-powered 450 HP bass boat, like a cigarette boat.
Yeah.
And we get that 2 Evan Rude outboard motors on it, the dual 225s on there. And we will just speed around that lake, get to all the good spots first. We will catch fish. We will fill those fish filled with lead weights so that they weigh in more. But we will not get caught for fraud.
No.
And
we'll show them all.
We'll show them all. And you can be a part of that by buying some Chicken in the Bucket merch here on the Paint Bravely web zone.
Yeah, that doesn't exist, but that's okay.
Smash that button.
Smash
get you that Cobalt merch.
Yeah. Oh man. I honestly, if we had access to a bass boat, I would think that a little competitive Space Marine fishing would be in order, for sure. We could pick chapters, maybe draw from a hat, You know what I mean? Do a whole thing.
Look,
and then go for it.
Casey, we'll talk later, but in addition to a canoe with 1 seat, I also have a canoe with 2 seats and a canoe with 3 seats, which is very useful for 2 people. Yeah.
Yeah, the canoe with 3 seats is useful for 2 people in a cooler.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only way I've ever done it. I sold my canoe last summer, but it was like a Coleman, one of those big like plastic chunky ones.
Okay.
Which worked surprisingly well. But we just didn't have time to take it out. But yeah, that was the way to do it. Like put the kid in the life vest kind of in between the cooler and one person, and then the other one rows, and you're good to go. It's very, very good. Didn't do any fishing though. Just rowing.
Well, yeah, that's pretty good too. Anyway, what's up with you, Casey?
Well, speaking of fish,
okay,
just because we're on the topic,
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I just started a fish pond. Yeah,
that's a hobby. Yeah.
Right. I've never done, like, I've never owned fish before. I know you're a fish guy.
Yeah,
you got the fish thing down. You know.
Yeah.
So I thought, technically it's not mine. I did buy it for my wife for our anniversary, but I gotta feed the fish too. So, bought a whole thing, a setup. It's a pond ecosystem that does its own kind of thing. It's really cool. There's like water plants in there, a bunch of goldfish, some minnows and stuff. So, yeah, not bad. Never done fish. So far, only one of them died out of like 25 fish, so I feel pretty good about that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good right there.
Yeah.
Did you get them feeder goldfish, or did you get the like $4.99 real man's goldfish? Yeah.
No, it definitely got the feeder goldfish, because I wanted to make sure that they were going to survive before, committing to spending a little bit more money on actual fish that I intend to keep for, quite a while. Because like goldfish can grow to whatever container they're in, right? They grow to like a certain size.
They can get like fist sized, I think. You can get a pretty meaty goldfish going.
I think the like maxed out goldfish, your swole fish is like a foot long. For a goldfish, it's pretty big.
I guess that's pretty big.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good. You need to report back every 2 weeks and let us know what your largest goldfish is looking like.
Right. Yeah. How swole my goldfish are getting. Well, they're feeder fish for now, so. Yes.
Still no swole fish.
No, still tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. One got sucked up into the filter. So, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, fishing. It's been good.
Okay, This is, hold on. Welcome to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to fish, and most importantly, fish bravely. Yeah, no, we got it. Yeah.
I think we're on topic today. Still a lot of fish talk, I even just bought a new lure, or not a lure, but a reel. But we won't go into that.
So many hobbies.
I know.
All right. Let me tell you about one of my purchases. So
yeah.
All right, I like to 3D print. I've been doing some 3D printing. I got all my models ready for teaching classes at Soonercon, and by the time this video's out, or this podcast is out, I will have already gone to Oklahoma and taught some nerds how to paint, and I'm expecting a very pleasant time. But I'm going to be teaching 3 different classes, and so I've got 2 batches of minis from Twin Goddess Minis, and then 1 batch of minis for Puppets War. I got it. It's in my brain.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah. So those are those are the minis I'm bringing for subjects for these classes. Got them all printed out, and I had just enough resin for these minis, like just enough resin.
So you finally ran out of like free resin stock?
This is actually the first couple of bottles that I bought for my own self.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
And I should have bought
Welcome to
another
the rest
liter.
Of us,
Should have bought another liter. Well, anyway, I'm all ready for the Soonercon for teaching painting. But when I was getting these minis ready, I needed to cure them. And I mentioned in a previous episode that my stupid frozen curing booth all busted up on me. So I got a new solution. Went to Amazon, ordered up like a black light, like a plug-in black light. It's like a $30 light that actually is like a pretty good looking setup. And so what I did is I zip tied that inside my old frozen cure booth. So that I still got the...
Just drilled a couple holes through the top.
Still got the eye protection. It still has the rotating turntable in there.
Oh, yeah.
And just kind of snaked in the wire for this extra UV lamp that I bought. And I got it all going. I got now 2 wires plugged in to make this stupid contraption work.
Yeah.
My new black light immediately burns out. It turns on for a second and then it stops. Like I have it all zip tied in the perfect location at the right angle. Sometimes it's just easier to take a cookie tray, put a little tin foil on it, make it all reflective, put your 3D prints on that, take it outside, and let the sun do what it does.
Yeah. It'll bake those minis.
That old sun has that UV radiation too, so that's pretty good.
That's true.
That's true.
Good. Like before I got one of those stations, it was a good 6 months, and I just like put them on the windowsill. That's all I did. And that worked for a long time until started looking at the windowsill, and there's like little. Like where I'd put a base on it and there'd be like a little ring, like where the base was, and then it would cure and it would be stuck there. I had to before I moved, I had to paint all of that stuff, over it to make sure nobody knew it was there. So yeah, baking tray, that's probably a better choice. The foil too being reflective. It's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not bad at all.
So we got it done. Life finds a way. It was destined to work out eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, very nice. So you're prepped for Soonercon. What classes are you teaching?
I got one on teaching skin and muscles, which is mostly going to be layering up. Put down a darker base, get your color progression sorted out, figure out 3 or 4 bottles of color that you want to use in a nice progression, and then just do smaller and smaller ovals on them muscles. So you can get that sweet layered highlight look. And so that should be fun. We got skin and muscles. I got a mech one, and so that's what I'm using the Puppets War minis for. They have sort of not Terminators, I guess, not Space Marine Terminators.
Like the new ones they just came out with, right?
I don't know what I bought them off of my mini factory. I don't know when they came out with, but
I keep seeing them pop up.
Their whole line of not Space Marines. I like their take on power armor. The just the lines of it. I really like their take on power armor. And for this class, it's going to be an emphasis on black lining and edge highlighting. They're like hour and 45-minute long classes. So I prepped the models by getting them assembled, primed, and then I put down just a base coat of color. So if you're watching the video, that's what these colored minis are here. I got some reds and blues and greens and yellows, and just the base coat down of some mechs / power armors, and then gonna make them students spend like hour and a half just black lining, and it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Yeah. They'll thank me eventually.
Oh yeah. No, that's a skill.
They'll be like, why did I sign up for this? Just sitting here black lining, and then. But at the end, around like 1:45, they'll see.
Yeah. Do you have anything prepared for the students? Like, are you gonna, you're going to talk fishing, you're going to bring up something while you're in between. Because, I mean, there's definitely a lot of downtime where, you know, you show the example and then they gotta do it. You got to walk around and then, I don't know, what are you going to talk about?
Yeah, I don't have any jokes lined up or anything.
Right, that's kind of what I'm after.
No, I don't. But I taught many organic chemistry discussion sections in grad school, and I learned that if you bring a worksheet, you can fill an hour easy. You just If anyone has something to talk about, that's cool. Otherwise, hit them with a worksheet, and then boom, that's discussion session taken care of.
You're really you're just streamlining this process using these other things that you've done.
Well, no, it's a legitimate question. Like if you are in a situation where you need to teach a class, like just knowing that having like a little bit of prep work is what you need to carry you through an hour or 2 hour long class. And just like, here's a mini. You're going to need to put paint on this mini. I've got some basic order of operations here and some suggestions and some tips, and I can come around and give you some encouragement and advice. And that will fill the time. But this is a real life tip of if you're ever teaching a class, like just bring something to give to the students as like, I prepared this activity to fill the time. And if it's chemistry, just like 1 page of problems to work, that'll do it. If it's a painting class, cross my fingers here, but I think just bringing a mini to paint will pretty much take care of it.
I mean, I'm gonna guess that'll do it for sure. No, I'm just trying to get a sense of how teacher Brent is gonna teach a mini painting class. That's all.
I'll get a little note card for myself of pick colors. Yeah, 2 thin coats. Yeah.
It's a good call. Are you gonna record some of it, like a session? Just throw a camera in the corner.
Probably not like that. I'll try to do a little bit of documentation, but I'm not gonna have people under surveillance the entire time. That's weird and uncomfortable.
You just a reference back for later, Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Just make everyone sign a waiver at the beginning.
Yeah.
A release form,
Exactly. Well, yeah. A lot of folks in this hobby niche do run painting classes. I'm sure most of them are more worthwhile than what I'm going to do, but we're all going to have fun. And
none of them are going to be at Soonerscon, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do recommend that people try out classes run by competent individuals with a proven track record of being actually pretty decent at painting. And
don't oversell it or anything.
Again, by the time this video comes out, that convention will have already happened. And
right. Yeah. Well, good. And we're gonna hear the update next episode.
Buckle up. Buckle up.
Yeah. How many panels were lined?
Oh, I forgot to mention the other 2 sessions are just a beginner paint course, and that is the Cybold, the Cybertronic Kobold, or the Cyberpunk Kobold that Adam at Twin Goddess Minis crafted up for me for this purpose. So this year at Soonercon is the Cyberpunk year. That's their theme of Soonercon 31. So got a Cyberpunk Kobold, and it's got a lot of really good textures and like different areas for people to paint. A little bit of metal, a little bit of cloth, a little bit of lizard scales, pretty good.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I'm all ready for that. That's me. Now you talk. What's up with you, Casey?
I've been working on some Space Marines.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. No, it's been it's been a long time since I painted like the old little Space Marines.
Ooh.
Yeah, And one of my favorite eBay sellers, who is unfortunately closing up shop pretty soon. We've talked about him before. He sells the meme Marines, just
You're his only customer. You're the only person buying
I
these.
swear that might be why, because it's all the same stuff that's still up there. I don't know that anybody else wants to buy these things, because I mean, this squad of Space Marines. I had planned to paint 10 Space Marines today, and it took me a day to clean them, and it took me today to like finish that process, prime, and paint 5 of them. So like there's a lot of work that's gone into these like really just standard Space Marines. So I can see why people maybe don't want to pick those particular models up, but for me it's been pretty good. So I'm a little bit sad that he's gone out of business, but I've been buying more stuff from him because he's got everything on discount right now. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. But the Space Marines have been fun. They're some of the more interesting pre-painted models I've ever purchased. Like, a lot of effort went into them, which is really strange. And like, it's again, I don't want to make fun of anybody.
Be nice.
The way that I'm putting it so far, and the way that I feel about it anyways, is like, this reminds me, or these models remind me of when I started painting and I really wanted to do fun things. So like, I would spend an hour on something kind of pointless, but I really wanted it to be really good. But then that meant that the paint was caked and tons of layers and redoing and trying again on a ton of things. So like, there's this squad of 5 Dark Angels models, and they're not technically, they're nondescript Space Marines, just out of a normal box. So they don't have any markings or signifiers. But the person who painted them went like all in with freehand and checkerboard patterns and all this stuff, and did it probably 20 times on every single surface to like really try and make it good.
Exquisite.
So, yeah, like a lot of work went into this, or it was somebody like maybe me or you who was just goofing around. I don't know. I did email the guy, and he was basically like,
"Stop contacting me.
Tell you anything." Yeah, like again, dodged the question, and then told me he's closing up shop. Like, I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. Just painting a boatload of Space Marines. I did finish my like Blood Angels, but they're kind of like Blood Ravens at the same time, like the way that the dude painted them. So I'm kind of going for this mix of a chapter, if you want to call it that. I don't know. So some like, Raven looking insignia with a blood drop in it, but still some Blood Angel looking stuff on there. So not bad so far though. I'm actually like surprised at how many more edges there are in so many more places on these older models than like the new ones. Yeah. Huh. Like Primaris Space Marines feel like, they were specifically designed where, you need to edge highlight these like 10 things and the model's done.
Sure.
Whereas these old Space Marines, man, like there's some funky angles. There's just like where the back of the knee, where that like tubing is, that you usually paint in.
Yep.
And the power armor meat, there's like an 1/8 of an inch gap between that doesn't get painted, and there's a weird soft edge around that. And if you don't edge highlight it, it doesn't look right. But it's not an edge that really can be highlighted very well. So it's like edges like that all over the model that don't really make sense.
The back of the knee? You don't need to worry too much about the back of the knee.
Well, it's the power armor like that butts up against that part.
Yeah.
The top of it, right?
I think I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm sure if I showed you, you'd know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Also, the cleanup process for these older models, I've forgotten like how tedious it actually is. Like getting the mold lines off the heads.
Oh,
or
sure. Sure.
The classic 2-part shoulder pads that have to be glued together.
Oh, I don't think I ever got any 2-part shoulder pads.
Never?
No, I don't think I ever did.
I've definitely, these are some of them. I know they are.
Yeah.
This is, there's no way.
I've had a lot of the shoulder pads that have, an actual gate, like the sprue connects to the flat part of the shoulder pad, or the showy part of the cold, like right where the chapter symbol should be. That's where there's just a gate of plastic sticking out of
in the worst
the pristine
spot.
part of the bit.
Yeah. Most of these had that, like right on the top part of the shoulder.
Wonderful.
So I've like scraping that stuff away and trying to make those look flat. It's next to impossible. It's been like a weirdly terrible process that still works, and it's fine. It's something we've had to deal with for a long time. It just makes me appreciate how far we've come in terms of the way that these models get produced and designed and all this stuff. So
kids these days are blessed with these modern models that,
they don't even know. They don't even know. It's true.
Well, there's some titles for you. Kids these days will never understand. I don't know.
That's not a bad title. I've shown you like kind of a starting point for my thumbnail, so you know what the model looks like.
Real good.
Yeah. It's so gross. Yeah. But I've been stripping the models too. I had some really good shots of peeling paint off kind of in one go, which was pretty nice. Like skin mask, you just rip it right off. So it's been good.
Well, especially if the person didn't prime their models. That's
I think great. That might be what's going on. Yeah. Yeah.
That makes it much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Not having to scrub through the primer or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And half the time the primer, when you're stripping a model, the primer underneath is just like a black stain on the plastic that I need to tell myself it's okay, just prime over it. There's no 3D texture to this black stain that's remaining. You don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let it taunt you. Just check to make sure that it's not actually 3D and prime on over it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. It's amazing how many times I've stripped a model and it doesn't look clean.
Right.
But you prime it, it looks perfectly fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's like some residues of some of the colors still on there, even after you do a pretty good job of stripping it and trying to clean it up.
Yeah.
And you just need to have good judgment about being able to look at it and see if there's actually 3D texture of the remaining paint, or if it's just stuff that'll be hidden forever.
Occasionally, occasionally I'll lock in some kind of lump or something, but I usually take those opportunities to do battle damage or something.
That's
the best way to do it. Yeah, just roll with it. It's fine. So I've been doing a lot of that. That's mostly what I've been doing is working on these like 10 Space Marines, which honestly shouldn't take this long, but they really are like a lot of work. And I'm sad that eBay seller's going away, because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I had thought to I know it's crazy. I had thought to potentially make him an offer, because he still has a lot of stuff up. And I'm thinking like, okay, if I just go here, just you send me everything in a box and I will give you this much money. Like if he would do that.
I want to hear about it.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things that if I could land something like that, like the value in models that the dude has is pretty high if they were in good condition. But most of them aren't. And I mean, even to the point where there's like physical damage on a lot of them, and parts are missing, or like this Blood Angels captain that I got had some sort of funky resin arm attached to it that I think was Forge World, but it was like paper thin. The actual sword. It was like when you do a 3D print that doesn't quite come out right, and it's just floppy, but it just didn't build the layers up. It's like got 2 layers instead of 50 on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like remove it, and I happened to find a good replacement. But it was gnarly. Like, I don't know what the whole deal was, and like I said, he wouldn't tell me, so I guess we'll never know.
That's too bad. That guy just trying to flip old models, and you're asking all these questions, and
he doesn't want to tell me.
Running an interrogation on where he got these nasty old models.
He's got probably $3,000 or $4,000 in models up for sale on his eBay store, and they're all obviously painted by the same, maybe one or two people.
Yeah.
So, come on, man. You're telling me you don't have the info? How do you not have that?
Yeah, just narc on your friend who is a passionate but not super skilled painter. And
I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I would.
Passion is worth something. You got a lot of fans out there.
Yeah. I'm telling you, just give me a nugget. It's fine. It's just hoping that he listens to this podcast. That's all.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We care about you. Maybe he's closing up shop because he's like, no, Casey taught me how to rescue my own minis, and I'm gonna rescue my own minis. I don't need to be selling these to Casey so he can make them look good. I'm gonna make them look good. I'm gonna take another crack at this. Yeah.
To be fair, if the dude bought a sonic cleaner, right, for a minimal investment, he could probably strip the models that he has for sale and put them back up for the same price or even potentially more and actually sell them.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, it is rare that a paint job adds to the value of an eBay listing.
Right. Very, very rare. You go type in Warhammer Pro Painted and you'll see exactly why that doesn't mean anything. Man, I've been wanting to do
I wonder where that tag came from, that Pro Painted tag.
I've been thinking about it. I look at the thing that search every so often because I want to do a video on rescuing a Pro Painted eBay model because everybody has this conception about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
As to my knowledge, what it has meant to people, or at least people that are using it, is that it was professionally, quote, air quotes, right, painted by someone who charged someone money. And that's all that means, is that I paid money for someone to paint this. That doesn't mean it's going to be great.
No.
And in most cases, it's not great. So it's really, I don't know. Because on one hand, you say it, and it means one thing, and then you see it, and it doesn't obviously mean that thing. So I don't know. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, your guess is about my guess. Yeah. You can certainly say done by a professional. Professional just means someone who got paid some cash to do it. So.
Yes, I gave someone $1 per Space Marine to paint all of these Space Marines. Your cats are going nuts today, man.
Gordon is currently chasing his own tail.
Perfect.
And rolling around. He almost got it. Yeah.
That's good. Get it, Gordon. Yeah. You can do it.
And then Snuffles is just sitting in front of the camera looking at a fly. So, yeah.
This is the best cat episode yet, I think.
It's been a pretty good cat episode.
Yeah.
You should check out the YouTube web zone for Paint Bravely, the podcast. We got that all up on YouTube. Got the links in the bottom so you can buy your Kobold merch to help Casey afford a bass boat full of bits from his favorite eBay seller who's going out of business. So there's a ticking clock on that. Okay.
I'll ask him to include the bass boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to buy all of your old minis and also the closest thing you have to a bass boat.
Yeah, exactly. Some old Alumaweld something or other he's got in the backyard. Oh yeah, with a 15 horse Evan Root on it. That's what he's got. That'll do it though. So
All right. So what else? Ooh, I'm gonna do some Twitch streaming here. So if anyone wants to hear more of this rambling, and instead of responding to Casey's rambling, I can be responding to the text chatter. Or maybe even Casey will stop by and say something in the text chatter, and I can...
I probably will.
Just talk to him about bass boats on Twitch for just extended periods of time. So
it's not a terrible idea, and I've thought about this before, but like, what if, okay, and go with me on this.
Right.
What if we took turns going live on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, and just did the podcast while we were doing that?
Like some sort of multitasking fiasco?
Yeah.
You're talking about a bonus episode of Paint Bravely, the podcast, where we're live.
Yeah. More like a bonus episode where we are live. Would make more sense.
You're welcome on my Twitch stream anytime, buddy.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Well,
Twitch
that can
can't
be
stop me.
Yeah, that can be revoked at any time too, but for now, you are...
Good luck. Good luck. I'll make me a new account. Call it something. Goobertown
_ Hobbies is the official account, but Goobertown _ Hobbies is dumb. Is that? Casey's account.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't ban me.
Is this the real Goobertown? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna rescue this space marine with the googly eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah. So you went fishing, but you haven't painted anything. Oh, I mean, I guess technically you did. You spray painted some models.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of brush painting in the last week, so I don't know what to tell you on that one, Casey.
I don't know.
Not like you free-handing Blood Raven insignia on shoulder pads,
Oh yeah. They look good though.
They do. I'm ready for that one to come out.
Yep. Yeah. Man, I'm still like my finger is messed up,
Okay.
So I'm having to like claw hand the brush, like with my thumb and pinky almost.
Okay.
And it's weird because like I get about 5 minutes of good painting in, and then I can't do it anymore.
Oh, no.
Like I kind of gave up on the like offhand painting thing because like I can do it, but unless I absolutely have to for a long period of time, I don't think that's a viable full-time solution. So trying to paint for like 5 minutes at a time the other way seems like a little more doable for now.
Yeah. Make sure to buy your kobold merch so Casey can buy his pain pills. That's
yeah. I'm just slamming ibuprofen constantly, pushing through the pain.
Yeah. Nurofen Plus with the codeine. That's what you need.
Yeah. Ooh, oh yeah. Get me started on some of that. You didn't say what time you were potentially going live on Twitch.
That is a very good question. I need to think
how
about
this goes.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like Sunday afternoon, evenings kind of thing.
Okay.
But I haven't locked that in.
Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe twice a week. We'll see.
Twice a week, huh?
We'll see.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're twice a week, then it's good opportunities to catch the live Goobertown.
Yeah. I've streamed a couple of times before, and the computer I had at the time was not up to the task, and it has since completely died.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was 9 years old, so getting a little elderly as far as computers go, and I tried to turn it on the other day, it just blew the screen to death, so...
bummer.
Kept the power supply and the case and ordered up a new motherboard and CPU, and we'll start fresh here, see how it goes.
Yeah, see what happens. Oh, man.
We'll use an Ethernet cable this time, too. And I got a good feeling about this stream.
Oh, man.
What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know. Even last time, like there was some jerkiness, right? Some quality issues. But overall, for a 10-year-old computer, it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, it was... I used a little bit of the CPU power to have open the task manager to tell me how badly the CPU is struggling, and it was struggling.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah, things have come a long way.
All resources hovering between 99 and 100%, and just,
yeah,
temperatures rising.
Yeah, just thermal died, just overheated.
Yeah. So the other day I took the old computer case out onto the porch and took out my air compressor with my airbrush on it and got all the dust out of that thing. And
oh, man.
My goodness, was there some dust in there. My goodness.
Yeah, it's funny. Like everybody, it's like everybody knows you're supposed to clean out your computer, not let it build up. But I don't know. In my entire life, I don't know that I've ever actually done it.
So this case is one that I actually put a lot of effort into. This is a case that I broke it down, like drilled out all the rivets, took apart all the steel plates that make up the case, spray painted them a couple of different colors. It's a pretty sweet. It's actually a really nice looking blue and black theme. Like it just kind of took alternating panels from the computer case, spray painted them a nice baby blue, kept some of them the black, like the powder coat black that came with the case. There were a few that were shipped with bare steel, so I painted a few of those black, some blue, some black. And then when I re-riveted everything together, I got these sweet white rivets. So it's just, I don't know. It actually looks really sharp. But then you build the computer and you seal it up, and unless you're one of those people that like keeps the computer case on your desk for the purpose of looking through a window and seeing like all the stuff inside, you never actually see the insides of the case.
No, I am that guy.
You are?
Like,
okay.
Yeah, my computer is right here next to my monitor on my desk.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want it on the floor because that's where the dust is.
Yeah, it is. It is. I am a next to the desk or under the desk kind of person most of the time. And so, dust gets in there and also just never see the damn thing. So it gets pretty dusty and there's no motivation at all to clean it except for every 9 years when something else goes wrong.
Right, when you got to replace a part and you go, I can't see. Need to read what's on the motherboard here.
Yeah,
close that down. Yeah, gotta be done. That does remind me though. I do need to look for a new laptop. I need to find a decent laptop for editing because I'm looking into this like weird co-op workspace that has an attached daycare, which is something I've never heard of before. And somebody told me about the other day that there's one like not that far away from me. And it's like you just go with your kids, they play in the thing that's supervised by licensed people, whatever, and you can work in the space. It sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying this out, making sure it's not weirdly dangerous or something. Like just some janky space with like a slide in the back.
Yeah. This sounds awesome. I'm trying to think of possible drawbacks. And the one I keep coming up with is if you keep asking the caretaker to ask Daddy if they can have a popsicle. Daddy always lets me have 2 popsicles. Go ask Daddy. He'll tell you. And so it just devolves into some nightmarish game of telephone where the childminder keeps coming to you and be like, oh, little bugger says he gets another popsicle. Is he lying to me? And you'd be like, do not give him another popsicle.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a concern. Like because you can't leave the space while they're there. Right. That's part of the deal. Oh, so you can work there while they're being looked after. Which, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
That seems fair. That's so that you're not buying a relatively cheap co-working space for the purpose of extremely cheap childcare.
I mean, yeah. But
I'm curious to see how it works out. Do whatever you need to do to get in there and give it a shot. Look. Mm-hmm. You could buy a nice laptop, or you could just buy whatever crap you find on Craigslist,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I could remote into my desktop and use it. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that would work with editing, though. Like if there'd be a weird lag or something. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously plenty of things to do, writing and emails and all the things.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. But you could also be sitting in there cleaning mold blinds. I've done that. I've done that at my co-working space before. I just set out a mat so that I'm not leaving too many crumbs everywhere.
Yeah.
And get to work.
Bring the knife and the toothbrush.
People give me weird looks, but yeah, whatever. What's your job,
right? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That I could probably do because, man, do I take a long time to build models. Like, I don't want to. And I'm always thinking, when I sit down with a box, it's like, say a box of like 5-10 guys, right? I'm always thinking, oh, I'll get this knocked out in like an hour. That's never the case. And I hate it. It makes me feel terrible.
Assembly takes me so long. Yeah.
It is by far the worst part.
It is the best part, and I enjoy it, but it takes so long.
Like, the only thing I like about it is being able to put on like a show and sit there and mindlessly get something done while I'm watching the show. So it's like killing two birds, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that sort of feeling, but still, just, yeah, I hate it. I hate it a lot.
Well, I mean, when you're buying used, a lot of times you could choose whether they come pre-assembled or not.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. If, like, technically you can.
So,
although
it's hard to tell if they're assembled well or not sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can mostly tell, like, especially if the paint's a little nicer looking on the model. You kind of be a little bit like, yeah, they probably took care of most of everything, and that's usually the case.
These receipt rolls seem to be load bearing in this Stampa, so that might be an issue.
They were not actually, but they definitely
purely decorative receipt
they
rolls,
purely
glued
decorative,
all over to that Stampa.
Yes. Oh man. It's still one of my favorite things. I still have those too. I kept them. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them.
But even in 2023, it is shocking how bad some people are at taking pictures. Like, if you're putting together Craigslist listing, get them Facebook Marketplace, them eBays, and you putting up a couple of pictures of your minis, and it's just a blurry mess that seems like there might be 4 objects on a table.
Yeah.
And if Google were to auto-fill in a caption for that picture, it'd be like 4 plants, like...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of varying colors. Yeah, it can be... I don't know how, in the day and age that we're in, that the pictures can be that bad, or maybe more that, like, you would take a picture of something you're trying to sell that is blurry and then still use that picture.
That's really the issue. It's taking a picture on a modern digital camera where you can take unlimited infinity pictures, and you just just the first one you get, you're like, yeah, that's good enough. Let's upload that. I can't see a
what
dang
the model looks
thing.
like, but yeah. No, there's just got to be a better way, like an easier way. Like use your phone. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You gotta be careful when you're shopping on eBay. But sometimes the mystery is part of the fun. Like, let's see how it goes.
Some of the better hauls that I've gotten have been the blurry picture hauls, for sure. Where it's like you kind of know what's there, and you can kind of count. Like, okay, well, I kind of know what this blob is, and there's like 40 of those. So if I'm buying 40 of those things, I feel pretty good about this.
That's a good deal right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, I bought like a stupid amount of, what are they? Like blood letters and like a whole demon army, right? A bunch of riders too. The forget what they're called. They're like berserkers or some such. They ride the mechanical dog things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, there were like 12 of them in there.
Ooh.
And you could barely tell what they were. They were painted and like half stripped, and the pictures were blurry, so it was just a mess. And half of them were like broken in half too. So it was kind of like I'm looking at the blurry picture going, if that is what it is, this is going to be good. And it was good. Yeah. I ended up with a sweet army.
I gotta take those risks sometimes. They pay off.
Sometimes. The other times you accidentally order epic models that are, 6mm.
I enjoy that story.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. I've almost done that recently, though, too. Like an epic Stampa, right? And like a crappy picture of an epic Stampa with nothing else around it looks just like an actual one.
How much were they selling it for?
Like $40.
Oh,
so it's kind of like
even almost believable. Almost believable. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. If it was like 65, 70, then yeah, I probably would have hit the button and then regretted it a lot. It's like it's not worth that. Like, but I could see that happening for sure in this day and age, Yeah, and that was like a week ago too. So it can happen to anybody.
Gotta stay alert.
Yeah. But that does bring up the question, right? The topic, if you will. Are buying used models actually worth it at all?
Well, I have recently gone into my pile of 3rd edition Dark Eldar Warriors. I'm not talking about the new bits that I have squirreled away. I'm talking about my pile of used Dark Eldar Warriors.
Right.
So when I got back into the hobby, I looked at the prices on Games Workshop's web store, and I said, no, thank you. No. And that was like 3 price raises ago. And I was like, just no. And so I started going on eBay, and I bought the only things I knew, which were 3rd edition Dark Eldar, which pretty cheap. And so I was collecting a lot of like actual cool models, like some of the Incubi and some of the Metal Witches and stuff like that are pretty fun models. There are some good ones in there. But every time I'd buy out basically somebody's old collection of Dark Eldar is what I was buying. I did this 4 or 5 times of just buying somebody's whole, normally small army, but like their whole army. And I got a lot of cool metal models, but every time I'd also get 20 or 30 of those plastic warriors.
Cabalite warriors or whatever.
And it was that situation of, okay, the metal models cleaned up fine, great. Every once in a while, a bit will be bent back and forth so many times that it's brittle and it falls off or whatever. But the plastic is more fragile, and this varies a lot depending on the sculpt of the Mini. But on those particular ones, their guns are very thin, and it's very easy to bend or snap the rifles, the splinter rifles on those Minis. And so I have a whole collection of like decent legs, torsos, arms, but all the guns are snapped.
Oh no.
And so it definitely depends on the Mini. I think a Space Marine with their thick bolters, their chunky legs and their chunky torsos and their fat heads and their fat bolters, those can be recycled so many times.
Oh yeah.
And is it worth it to buy used? You still have the question of, did they glue it together with hot glue, with Gorilla Glue? Did they glue it together with leaving nasty gaps and things? Did they hit it with primer and not understand that the primer can melt plastic or partially dissolve plastic, so it's got this weird texture on it?
In most cases, yes. To all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Warhammer is so interesting. It is fascinating to me how much of their value used models hold. Like, those used nasty Space Marines are still going to be listed for at least half of their MSRP.
Yeah. Although, in the case of the ones that I'm working on currently, man, I think I got those like a squad for $8.
Yeah, the small Marines are pretty cheap these days.
Yeah. Now, anything past that like second, third edition kind of era is, it's like half MSRP.
Yeah.
Which realistically is a pretty good place to buy at. Like, that's kind of as a general rule, right? Like, if you're going to buy something, I like to stick to half of MSRP.
Yeah. I mean, the trade-off is that it's cheaper, except maybe some of the things are not restorable all the way.
Yes.
Again, something broken that cannot be repaired, melted that cannot be repaired, glued in such a way that it ain't coming apart. And it's not good the way it is. So
yeah. It's interesting because almost all used models, especially when you're going to get them at a decent price, like, they're really bad.
Some of them can be. Yeah.
And I mean, personally, like, I'm out for those, right? I'm looking for those. But still, like, even when I'm not, like, I will just buy models and it's like, oh good, I just wanted this pre-assembled so I don't have to build it, right?
Sure.
And it's like, come on, like, who uses super glue? Or not super glue, but hot glue? Who does that? That's not okay. So yeah, you run into these things. But even though, we know all these things, I still think that buying used models is 100% worth it.
Yep. Yeah. Again, it depends what the models are. Some of them are fragile enough that it's just going to be Snap City. Maybe you're trying to buy some new plastic witch elves, and they're all jumping in the air, and they're attached to their base by the tip of one toe.
Yeah.
And
oh man.
Even if I got that new, I would have trouble preserving the structural integrity of that model. And I don't know. I don't think you should be buying Teclis, the floating cow elf, used. I don't think that would be a smart move.
I've been there almost.
Snap City.
Several times. Yeah, it's possible.
Run some pins through the tiniest of hats and cow horns. And,
it's usually the horns that go on most models.
Sure.
Or like, what is the Archon? Something Dark Eldar. The stupid arm.
Well, that just never glued on properly.
Right.
But
yeah, no, there are definitely like models like that that just, they're never good anyway. So Like, whatever. Yeah, like the Sisters of Battle, like old Seraphim models, like they got the toe, attached to a little rock that goes into a slot of base, and it's like, that's gonna break. It's gonna break, and they do.
Yeah. The ones
that
that absolutely rely on a slot base, and this goes for plastic as well, metal or plastic, if the slot base is a key structural component of that miniature, I don't know, like, used is going to have a lot of stress on that part, and rolling the dice on whether you're going to be able to work with it. And in a situation like that, you're going to want to have a backup plan of how to do like a different jumping, flying pose, how to either add kind of a flight stand or a different variety of hero rock to give them, or you want to have some sort of backup plan for something like that.
Yeah. Well, in most cases, when you're talking about jumping models, especially older ones that are fragile like that, there's kind of like two ways you can go about it, right? Either you can get a base 3D printed that is made specifically for those models, that has like a foot kind of hold area that you can kind of glue that foot at an angle, because they're pointing down, so you can kind of stick it in like a slot almost, and have way more of an area to glue or pin, technically, which you would want to do. Just go straight up through the leg or whatever. So I've seen that a lot with like the Sisters of Battle models. The other cooler option is, generally a jumping model is a flying model that has something like a backpack or a jetpack or a whatever. Backpacks that have smoke trails. Best way to fix those. Yeah.
Okay, so here's another point. Speaking of backpacks, those often are not included, or like there are often key bits that just get lost at some point.
Very much.
By the previous owner, or they forgot to put it in the box, or who knows. And so you might end up with your new squad of small Space Marines, and none of them have any backpacks, and then
well, one I just got was missing shoulder pads.
Well,
I didn't even notice.
Well, dang.
Yeah. I had to put new ones on.
Yeah. And who knows what sort of deficiencies you'll get, but you might not get the weapon loadouts you want, or the spare bits that would have been on the sprue. You might be missing that kind of stuff. But
just the weapon loadout thing is definitely a thing. Like, you're not going to get what you want generally.
Yeah.
If you're trying to, like, make a list with specifics. Although maybe these days, like, it's less of an issue if you're buying a squad of X, Y, or Z. Like, they just kind of have that loadout nowadays.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I think we're not seeing as much of like the 10-man Space Marine squad with like 5 different variations.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that always stressed me out. Like, is my special weapon gonna be a grenade launcher, or is it gonna be,
I hate that feeling. Like, when you're building it and you go, which weapon do I put on this model? Having the weapon like selected for the squad it's a better feeling out of the box. So when you're buying used, especially, I don't feel as bad for doing that. Like, I'm not missing out on something, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, being previously built can be a downside, but like you were saying, it can be an upside too, of somebody else spent all that time to clip the sprues, hopefully clean a few mold lines, glue them together.
Yeah. Even a few would be helpful. The fact that the model's already put together, and generally speaking, most of the kits that, I guess Games Workshop has made aren't the worst kits out there. Like, they're pretty hard to mess up.
Well,
especially
it's pretty easy to put big gaps in them. Like,
sometimes,
it's still pretty easy for their big old gaps.
Yeah, that's true. If, like, you don't push fit something together all the way or whatever
right.
the case is.
In some ways, I'm actually more worried about that these days with the push fit models.
The push fit ones, for me, have been hit and miss. The multi-part kits, less of an issue.
Well,
probably just because they're designed that way.
Hit and miss for you assembling them, or hit and miss for buying somebody else's assembly of those.
Buying somebody else's.
Yeah.
Like I bought quite a few of the Dominion models, right? And definitely the push fit aspect of it is super hit and miss, whether somebody literally pushed them in all the way. That
just
also
glued
means
them in
they,
halfway pushed together.
Yes.
Ooh.
Like used plastic glue and didn't push it together all the way. That is insane. And I have had to remove the push fits.
Right.
To cut them off because they're not coming apart.
Right.
And just try and weld that stuff together.
Yeah,
so
that's what you gotta do.
That definitely can be an issue. But I think more often the models that I get tend to be built halfway decently. Mold lines are, who knows, like 50-50 whether any are on there or not. Like depends on the person. It's like, it's weird. Like you built the model and then you painted it and you put it on eBay. I guess you didn't want it, but like it's weird that there would be mold lines at all, but you never know.
There are.
I mean, yeah, there probably are, but still, the fact that you don't have to sit and put a model together is seriously a huge time saver.
Yeah, some good news right there.
Yeah, like stripping a model down and doing minor bits of cleanup is faster than building a model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think in that aspect, like that's probably why I like buying used models, because I don't have to do the thing I don't want to do.
Yep.
And cleaning it up really isn't that big of a deal.
Yep.
And I mean, I can get going like same day, not that you couldn't if you built it, but can have a squad of 10 done.
That's right.
Instead of 1.
A little bit of a head start for you there.
Yeah. For sure. And I feel like I'm winning some weird like competition because I'm like, oh, that's right. Like saved all this time. It saved all this money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at me. I'm ahead, in some imaginary race or game or whatever.
Yeah.
But it definitely has a different feel to it than opening a new box and putting it together. Like I feel like there's a weird pressure. Like if I go out and I spend a legit $100 on a box, like I'm gonna have to spend some serious time cleaning these up, making sure that every piece fits together properly. Test fitting everything and then gluing it in, making sure that all the lines are there, and they got to be perfect. Like if I'm building it from the box, they have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's a weight that is lifted when you buy a used model, because it's like, well, I didn't do it, so whatever, I can fix whatever is going on here, but I didn't put it together like that to begin with, so it's somehow freeing in a way.
It diffuses the responsibility. It's not my fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my fault. Yeah. I would never do this.
Yeah, I wouldn't do
perfectly.
This. Yeah, come on, you know me.
Exactly. So there's a weird like extra bit of like mental stuff at play when you're buying used models.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that makes sense. Makes sense to me. So there are some models that you can only get used these days. Like from companies that have gone out of business or model lines that have been retired. There's sometimes you gotta go used. You want that old metal Ragnar Blackmane. You gotta go to that one store before he shuts down and get him.
He's got a couple. He does have a couple.
Good.
I should link the store. Maybe help the dude out a little bit. I feel bad. I'll try and do that. I'll try and remember to link the store down in the description.
Yeah, just jack up those auction prices. Casey loses his mind till he's trying to. Just don't buy all the good stuff. Yeah, don't buy all the good stuff. Don't
leave
do
the good
that
stuff
to
for
Casey.
No. In fact, everybody just give him like a lowball offer on everything, and that way, when I bring my offer of like $500 to buy its entire stock, he won't feel so bad.
I feel like this is probably illegal in most countries. Yeah.
What do you call that? There's a name for that, right?
Market manipulation, insider trading.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Rudy from Alpha Investments is what that's called. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Man, I'm starting to feel like that guy more and more every day.
Yeah, I
just
working the
like
markets.
State of the market video out on Terminators the other day. Like, oh no,
folks.
Yeah. Folks, what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah.
I should do like a real quick video, just doing the exact same thing.
Oh,
same
you
background,
should.
and just do
you
Warhammer.
Should.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so good.
Oh, how do you make that Rudy back? Or you just steal it from his videos and do a green screen?
I probably could. There's plenty of him walking off camera where I could just pull the picture and do the green screen for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd want to do that or just make my own though, because like I've got a bunch of crap on the wall behind me. I could probably just do it there.
It would work pretty well if it was just your place. Yeah. Just wander on the screen, folks, and then just start talking about used prices of.
Just noticing things, folks. People buying out
small Marines. Are they ever going to come back? Like...
Yeah. Somebody had an interesting thought about that the other day that I just thought about. So Games Workshop's trying to kill all the small Marines, right? That like Primaris and up, that's all they want, which is fine.
Presumably, yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me. Like I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah. The
old editions are moving out. That's fine. But I mean, a lot of small Marines are out there. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody on my Discord did say like, well, what if they just wrote in some extra stuff for like 30K, where it's 35K or whatever, like slightly in the future, where these things started to come out, right? From a book perspective, you could create that within the system. So I wonder if they're just going to do that.
No.
You don't think so? They're
no,
just going to be like, here, look, they're all in here now.
They're not going to make a whole new rule system to support out-of-print models. No, they're not going to do that.
Well, I don't necessarily mean like a new rule system, but more that they would be included into like, look, it's the old world, so to speak, you know? Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
I don't know. I got some small Marines around here. I thought where you were going is like, what if now that small Marines, nobody wants them, you buy them up cheap now, but prices will rise because they ain't making any more small Marines. So
I mean, that's true.
I thought that was
technically
an investment
from that.
Tip.
Yeah. I mean, that is technically.
You're just sitting there crafting the world and the folks of Ultramar for years upon years, waiting for your time to
for when they
for those
like
prices
vanilla.
to tick up so that you could start
sell
them and pay your mortgage for that month. For that month, right.
And that is kind of the inherent problem with doing that. Unless you're a huge store, you're not going to be making enough money on the used market. Because people ask me that all the time. It's like, well, how do I buy and sell models? Like, how do I get into this kind of thing? And it's like, well, this isn't Alpha Investments, and I don't do that because unless you have a warehouse, that's not going to happen. Like, you have to have a line on some models.
So, speaking of price manipulation, we've been checking in on Dominion. It's up to like, it's up to like $115, $120 a box.
Yeah, jump back up a little bit.
Yeah. So I never bought anything cheaper than 104, but I think we saw like $96 shipped or something on eBay.
Shipped. It was like 85 plus shipping. Wow. It was the cheapest. And that dude, I mean, it must have gone quick because he had like 15, 20 boxes and they had to have just gone.
A true warrior
as soon
will
as
jump
we talk
on
about
Dominion
that,
at those prices.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, and we're definitely rolling this into it because we have to, Leviathan.
Yep.
From different places I've looked at, apparently is the most printed box the Games Workshop has ever made.
It's going to be fascinating to watch the prices of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on these used product discussions, like the halves of the big edition starter boxes for either 40K or fantasy, like those are classic, and they leave a big impact on the market. Like we're kind of talking about Dominion just for fun, but also it is like a culturally relevant product that has been produced in apparently far excess of what they needed. And it is a pretty good, even at $200, it is a pretty good deal for the models in the box if you wanted the models in the box. Right? But for $104, this is definitely a good deal. So
no, and $104, like, you're not saving money here. You're just buying 2 boxes. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're doing.
But you can still go and probably get some Indomitus halves for reasonably affordable prices. Probably get
Indomitus is
Dark Imperium, maybe. I don't know.
Dark Imperium, those prices have shot up for at least the Death Guard models are hard to get now.
Fair.
Yeah. Because you just got some, and that's pretty good. There's one model, I think it's the Lord of Contagion or something in that box. That's a pretty expensive model on its own now.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they don't make it. It
Fair.
was only in that box.
Fair.
Yeah.
So at least if you're pretty close to the release date of these big 2-faction starter boxes, those are worth checking out. The prices on the used market. And if you are at all interested in any of the models, normally you can get them pretty cheap. Like going back to Dominion, like what was the name of the lady with the wings? So like the Stormcast with the wings.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember.
Like just a really nice model. And
it's very good model.
Get her for like $650 on eBay. Like a really nice character model you get for $725 plus $2 shipping.
I think that the cheapest model in that box was the Banner.
Okay.
Which is a decent model. Like, it's a very cool model. The Banner's really cool. And I want to say they were $650, like free shipping.
Yeah.
$650.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. So anyway, Leviathan is the 10th edition 40K big box with the Tyranids and the Space Marines. And if any of that does anything for you, keep an eye on eBay, because you can definitely buy that box for less than MSRP. Probably can buy half of that box for less than half of MSRP. And keep it. It'll be interesting because the market might fully saturate and the prices might drop the same way Dominion did, but it'll be interesting to see.
I'm assuming that's going to happen because even if they printed 90% of how much they did with Dominion, like they're still there. They're still out there. You can buy boxes en masse, for cheap.
40K and Age of Sigmar are not the same.
True. Yeah. Very true.
But still.
But even if this is the most, I mean, because it feels pretty hyped, right? Like 10th edition, it's a big deal. Yeah. They're trying to, simplify whatever they're trying to do. I don't know. But it certainly seems like it's going to attract more people, which maybe that's what they're trying to account for. But I'm already seeing a ton of, used stuff from that box, like not painted, but parted out sprues and that kind of thing. And I mean, so you want to get the Tyranid half, it's like $90.
There you go.
It's a Start Collecting box that has double the amount in it of a Start Collecting box.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, even if prices were to stay there, it's still pretty good. But theoretically, like, they're going to go down. And, you know, I posited in my last video that old Terminators probably not worth buying right now because Indominus or Leviathan is such a huge deal, and the prices aren't that different, actually, for buying new Terminators versus old Terminators. Yeah. They're almost the exact same price.
Yeah.
So, like, once we get more of those, everything else should shift, and we'll eventually come to a place where, yeah, it'll definitely be worth buying the old ones, because the new ones are just going to be, okay, here, you know, they're $8-9 a model, and that's where they're going to sit. So everything else shifts down. So I'm looking forward to it, because I do want to get models from that box, but not right now.
Yeah, give it just a little bit of time. Like, we're recording this right when people are starting to get their boxes, like, you know, actual customers getting their boxes right now. And so give it a couple of weeks and see what the secondary market is looking like.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and the funny thing is, like, so I went to my local Warhammer store the other day.
Okay.
Just happened to be out by it and stopped by to say hi to some people in there and hung out for quite a while. Just kind of looked at stuff. Ended up buying a paint pot because I never had one of those before.
A paint pot? I thought,
why not? Yeah. Like one of them Citadel paint pots.
Oh my goodness. For your paint water.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought it might make for a good cup. Just for the irony's sake.
Yeah, when I go into a store, I try to buy something to be polite also.
Pretty much what it is. Yeah. I also bought two bottles of Agrax Earthshade because I haven't actually had any for a good 6 months.
There you go.
Yeah. So I thought it feels like a good thing to do. Like the manager at my GW store is a pretty cool dude. So I like him to keep his job.
Help him meet his quotas. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. There were probably 15-20 Leviathan boxes in that store.
Sure.
Yeah. A lot. So I know, because the town I'm in is not exactly small time for Warhammer. Like, there's a lot of Warhammer players here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like anybody who pre-ordered it, there's plenty of excess, you know, which says a lot. And Dominion was like that. Even Indominus was kind of like that. And those prices tanked after the whole debacle with Dominion, or, you know, they all sound the same. I don't even know anymore. Indominus. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get your alpha investments set. Get your.
You should.
I need some price updates on this.
That's not a bad idea. That would actually be very fun.
That would.
Just to yell at Games Workshop for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just about pricing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Well, on that note.
Yeah. Thank you again for joining us on another. You did mean to end this, right? That's what you were going for?
Yeah, we can
just making sure. Was there anything else? I'm not ending it prematurely. I was putting that out there. I was
giving you the option, Casey. Yeah, and you got anything more to say about Leviathan, buying used Leviathan boxes? I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no. I just right. I just wanted to make sure before I finish. You know, because we still got other things, you know, on list, but it doesn't matter.
Take it away, Casey. Take us in. It don't matter. Well, none of this matters.
No, actually, I have nothing. I have nothing. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening. We will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.